remember the day it all began, a cold, gray morning in late autumn. I was staring at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, but I didn't recognize the woman looking back at me. Her eyes were hollow, her shoulders slumped, and a faint tremor ran through her hands. For months, I had been running on empty, fueling my body with coffee and my soul with restless thoughts. My health was crumbling, sleepless nights, a racing heart, and a gnawing emptiness that no pill could fix. That morning, I whispered to myself, "You need something more. You need to heal from the inside out." And so, I began my journey into spirituality, not knowing it would become the gentle hand that guided me back to life. I started small with just 5 minutes of silence each morning. I would sit on the floor, cross-legged, and try to quiet the chaos in my mind. The first few days felt like torture. My thoughts bounced from unpaid bills to missed deadlines, from past regrets to future worries, but I kept showing up day after day. Then, around the second week, something shifted. In the middle of one session, I felt a sudden warmth spread through my chest. It was subtle, like the first ray of sun breaking through a cloudy sky. That warmth became my anchor. It was the first time in years I felt truly present in my own body, not just floating through the day on autopilot. Spirituality wasn't about escaping reality, it was about meeting it face to face. As I delved deeper, I learned to breathe with intention. I discovered that each inhale could carry hope and each exhale could release tension. I started practicing gratitude not as a chore, but as a way to rewire my brain. Every night I would list 3 things I was thankful for. No matter how small, the taste of warm tea, the sound of rain on the window, the softness of my pillow. I began to see my body not as a machine that had failed me, but as a temple that had been neglected. I nourished it with whole foods, gentle movement, and kind thoughts. Slowly, my sleepless nights turned into restful slumber. My racing heart calmed, and the hollowness in my eyes began to fill with a gentle light. I remember a particular afternoon when I was walking in a nearby park. The leaves were falling, swirling in the breeze, and I stopped to watch them. For the first time in my life, I wasn't worried about where they would land. I was simply there, witnessing the dance of nature. I felt a connection to something greater than myself, a quiet, loving presence that seemed to say, "You are part of this. You belong." That moment was a turning point. I realized that healing wasn't about fixing what was broken. It was about remembering what was already whole. Spirituality taught me that my health wasn't just the absence of illness, but the presence of peace, purpose, and love. Today, I still sit in silence each morning. The tremor in my hands is gone, replaced by a steady calm. I smile at my reflection now, seeing a woman who has learned to listen to her inner voice. Spirituality didn't solve all my problems, but it gave me the tools to navigate them with grace. It taught me that true health starts from within, and that the journey inward is the most rewarding adventure of all. If you are feeling lost or broken, I invite you to sit with yourself for just 5 minutes. Breathe and trust that within you lies a wellspring of strength and light. The healing is not in the destination. It is in every step you take toward yourself. My first step was simple, almost embarrassingly so. I sat on my bedroom floor, legs crossed, and tried to breathe. The silence was deafening. My mind screamed with to-do lists, regrets, and fears, but I didn't give up each day. I returned to that spot, and slowly the noise began to soften. I learned about mindfulness, how to anchor myself in the present moment. I read about chakras and energy, and though I was skeptical, I felt something shift when I visualized a warm light flowing through my body. One evening, as I meditated, a tear slid down my cheek. It wasn't sadness, it was release. For the first time in years, I felt my heart beat in rhythm with something larger than myself. That moment was the beginning of a deeper journey. I started waking up earlier, not because I had to, but because I wanted to greet the dawn with quiet intention. I would sit by my window with a cup of tea, watching the light change the colors of the sky. In those still minutes, I practiced gratitude, not just for the big things, but for the small ones too. The warmth of the cup in my hands, the sound of birds outside, the simple fact that I was alive. And slowly something miraculous happened. The tightness in my chest began to ease. The constant hum of anxiety that had been my companion for years started to fade. I remember one particular morning when I felt a sudden surge of energy. It was as if a door had opened inside me. I stood up and stretched, and for the first time in a long while, I noticed my body without judgment. Instead of seeing flaws, I saw strength. I saw the soft curve of my belly that had carried me through hard days, the calloused hands that had built my life, and the tired eyes that had seen so many sunsets. I whispered to myself, "You are enough," and I meant it. That realization didn't come from a book or a teacher. It came from the practice itself, from sitting still, breathing, and listening to my own heart. I started to understand that spirituality isn't about escaping the world. It is about embracing it fully with all its mess and beauty. It is about finding peace in the chaos and love in the mundane. A few weeks later, I joined a local meditation group. I was nervous at first, walking into a room full of strangers who seemed so serene. But as we sat together in silence, I felt a strange connectedness. We were all different ages, backgrounds, and beliefs, but we were all seeking the same thing, a sense of peace. In that room, I learned that healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens when we open our hearts to others and allow ourselves to be seen. One of the elders in the group, a woman with silver hair and kind eyes, took me aside after a session. She said, "You have a beautiful practice, but remember, spirituality is not a destination. It is a path you walk every day. Some days the path is clear and other days it is overgrown. That is okay. Just keep walking." Her words stayed with me, and so I kept walking. I incorporated yoga into my routine, moving my body with intention and breath. I started journaling, pouring my emotions onto paper and watching them transform into stories. I even began volunteering at a local shelter, not out of obligation, but because serving others made my own problems feel smaller. Each act, no matter how small, became a thread in a larger tapestry of health. My body grew stronger, my mind became clearer, and my spirit felt lighter. A year later, I look back at that first day on my bedroom floor and laugh. If someone had told me that sitting still and breathing would change my life, I wouldn't have believed them. But it did. It didn't happen overnight, and it wasn't always easy. There were days when I felt like giving up, when the noise in my head was too loud. But I kept coming back to my practice, day after day, breath after breath. Now, I understand what true health means. It is not just the absence of illness. It is a state of wholeness, a harmony between body, mind, and spirit. And the most beautiful part is, this journey never ends. Every sunrise is a new chance to breathe, to be grateful, to grow. I am not perfect, and I never will be, but I am healing, and that is more than enough. If you are reading this and feeling lost, I want you to know something. You are not alone. Your path may be different from mine, but the destination is the same. Start small, sit still, breathe, trust that the universe has a plan for you, and that every step, no matter how small, is leading you toward a healthier, more joyful life. The light is already inside you. All you have to do is let it shine. The practice extended beyond my meditation cushion. I began to treat my body as a sacred vessel. instead of punishing it with harsh diets and endless workouts. I nourished it with wholesome food, gentle yoga, and walks in the park where I connected with the rustling leaves and chirping birds. Spirituality taught me that my physical health was not separate from my mental and emotional well-being. They were all threads of the same tapestry. I journaled my thoughts, confronted old wounds, and forgave myself for past mistakes. The heaviness in my chest lifted, replaced by a lightness that made me smile at strangers. My doctor noted the change before I could explain. My blood pressure was down. My energy was up. "What are you doing?" she asked. I simply smiled and said, "I am learning to listen." Now, months later, I sit by a window as the sun pours in, and I feel whole. The journey wasn't about becoming someone new, but about returning to the person I had always been beneath the noise. Spirituality gave me a map, but I walked the path. My voice no longer trembles. It rings with certainty. My heart no longer races. It beats with gratitude. I look at the woman in the mirror now, and she glows, not with perfection, but with peace. If you are reading this, know that healing is not a destination. It is a daily choice, and it begins with one breath, one moment of grace, one whisper that says, "I am ready." That whisper changed everything for me, and it can for you too.